Okay, yeah, no, just making sure, because I wasn't sure if we had something like...
My name is Dan the Man. I'm here with Magnus, and we're going to discuss...
Hi, I'm Dan, Editor-in-Chief at FSElite, and I'm here together with Magnus, CEO of Navigraph. Magnus, welcome to Houston. It's very warm here.
Thank you.
How have your impressions been so far?
You're right, it's hot and it's humid. And also in here in the seminar room, it's packed with people, and you can cut through the ambiance with a knife. Can you say it like that? It's people are really stoked to be here.
Yeah, it's absolutely, the energy here that I've seen so far is absolutely great. You've come with quite a lot of people, actually.
Yeah, we try to come to the FS Expo event. It's a team building exercise for us, but also, of course, to meet all the flight simmers out there. I'd like for my crew to mingle with everyone and collect feedback and get suggestions for new things that we could build. So it's very important for us to be in events like this.
Absolutely, I can totally understand that. And I think we as FSElite sort of have the same people all over the world, so it's very nice to meet up in events like this. The Navigraph team has grown quite considerably, and with that I think you have quite a lot of exciting stuff that you've been working on in the last couple of years. Can you go over a little bit the things that in the last half a year or so that you've been working on, that you've released?
Sure. Yeah, it's true that we've grown over the last couple of years. We used to be 10 or 12, now we're 25 on the team actually, and we're spread over different countries such as not only Sweden where we're based, but we also have team members in America and Canada and Austria and Australia and Czech Republic and India and Ukraine. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone right now. So it's a nice time to come together here. In November last year, we released the 8th revision of our software Navigraph Charts, which is a software that displays aeronautical information in terms of charts. And we rewrote the whole thing from scratch. So now you can use it on all platforms, including your mobile phone. And the rewrite of this code base also made it possible for us to launch features in a much more rapid pace than we've been able to before. So in the recent past, you've probably seen not only the responsive interface that you can use the charts on your cell phone, but you also have NOTAM, for instance, and you have these detailed airport diagrams. If you zoom in really closely, you can see the airports in full scale. And we've also, this is a little bit technical, but the display system that we have is now based on vector tiles, and that allows us to put many different layers on top of each other, almost like a geographical information system, if you will. And the most recent feature that we released just a few days ago, which we're here in the FS Expo now announcing, are weather layers. So we have 15 different weather layers, and the typical weather you might have seen elsewhere is the colorful Doppler radar, the ones that are like yellow. And
I think everyone,
we had a category 2 electric storm here just 2 days ago, and the screen basically blew up with all the colors, and it's nice to look at, right? Kind of mesmerizing to see how they come flowing in like this. But there's also turbulence, and there's icing, and there's a bunch of other pretty advanced weather data that you can display now on Navigraph charts.
That's very exciting to hear. I think from personal experience, we've reviewed charts in the past, not version 8 yet, but I'm quite an avid user of the Navigraph app. And I think it's absolutely really cool that you can now use it on my iPhone as well, so I can make flight plans on the go and load them into my simulator when I get home.
On the go is actually what we try to describe in our latest. We make little videos that we put on social media.
I've been following them.
Yeah, and our colleague Andy, he's sitting there on the bus, and he wants to show now that Navigraph Charts is responsive, so that you can look at the charts on your cell phone. But so is Simbrief, our flight planning tool, and the flight planning tool also has weather data. But it's weather data that is stretching into the future, so that you can make a plan according to different jet winds and so forth.
Yes.
But the weather that is being shown in Navigraph charts, that's more current, so that's only three hours into the future, I think. And you can also put your own ship, your airplane icon on it. So it's really good as you're flying because you can see how the weather situation evolves around you, a little bit like a weather radar, if you like.
Yeah.
And we also try to take some parts of Navigraph charts into Simbrief. So if you have a current subscription with Navigraph on Simbrief, then you can pull up Navigraph charts on there as well and see how your route looks like on top of Navigraph charts.
Yeah, very good to hear. So the new weather stuff, I haven't yet been able to check it out. Very eager to. As soon as I get home, I'm going to try it out.
It's just recently released.
Yeah, it's just recently released. So what kind of features can I expect in terms of weather integration?
Wow, yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff here. As I said before, it's 15 different data layers, and I think that we might be able to add some more in case we need it. But there's precipitation, of course, the Doppler radar. But the Doppler radar doesn't reach everywhere, so there's another weather layer as well where we can observe reflection or reflectivity, if you will. So that's how you can see if there's clouds or precipitation or something over the oceans where you don't have radar coverage, for instance. Anywho, there's also turbulence, of course, and you can see where the tropopause comes up or down. So generally around the equator you have a little bit of a higher tropopause, and that gives you information about temperature, for instance. When we speak of temperature, we also have icing, that's also in there. Winds aloft, or winds at different levels is in there, of course, and jet winds as well, so that you can see, you can direct your route where you would go with the jets as opposed to against or across them.
Yes.
See what else? There's tons of stuff in there. Actually, Steven and I were about to go on stage here in just a minute, and he's got more structured information about what these 15 weather layers actually entail. And we also trust the community, different content producers, to cover these in detail, because they're quite intricate, if you will.
Right, very good. So how do you think that this will integrate, or sorry, not integrate, but will affect my flight planning when I'm using charts?
Flight planning, we see that you do that probably with Simbrief still. So then you're going to use their weather, or our weather sources, but those weather sources, they predict longer into the future than weather in Navigraph charts does. However, it's all from the same source, and it's current. So any weather source or any weather in any add-on that draws its data from a current source is going to be compatible with this. So you generate your flight plan as you would from Simbrief, and you import it into Navigraph charts, and as you're about to fly your flight, then you can see how the weather evolves as you're flying. So you can use it at a minimum as a weather radar to see how the weather evolves around you as you fly.
Very exciting to hear, and very interesting as well to see how it integrates to Simbrief. Talking about Simbrief for a second here, we've obviously Navigraph, the Simbrief team joined Navigraph, what is it, 2 years ago?
Yes, this was in May 2 years ago. Derek Meyer, based in Canada, joined the Navigraph team. We've been working alongside for almost 10 years, so it was very natural and made sense for us to join forces there. And the way that he has contributed to the Navigraph team and the way that we have helped him have amplified both products, I would say. So we're now one unified team, and we for instance, the push towards a mobile interface, making Simbrief responsive and making Navigraph charts responsive as well, so that we can work on smartphones. That was a synchronized effort, for instance. So, and we cross-pollinate Simbrief with Navigraph stuff and vice versa to make things as good as we can.
Yes. So Simbrief recently got like the update, the dispatch update earlier this year. Like you said, it has the mobile. What is it called again?
We call it a responsive.
Yeah, responsive. Thank you. So it has a responsive interface. It scales easy to any device I'm using.
Yeah.
What is your personal favorite feature of
Ooh. What would that be? Well, maybe the SIGMET, or the something that people call SIG WX symbols of the weather, can be shown in Simbrief. It's not available in Navigraph charts because it's actually a rasterized data that wouldn't mix very well with the vectorized data that we have there. But it is available in Simbrief. So it's just an easier way to read weather, because it's basically how the old weatherman on TV used to draw it.
Yeah.
So
that sounds very good. All right, if I'm allowed to get speculative here for a second.
Go ahead.
Going forward, after Expo, will we see any more integrations between Navigraph, Simbrief? I think the recent updates have already shown a lot of integrations. You've brought a certain Navigraph charts into Simbrief, for example. Will we see more of that?
Yes. First of all, we'd like to collaborate with add-on developers of different aircraft to integrate charts and Simbrief and also SimLink into their aircraft. We've already seen some development within Xbox. Now you can fly certain airplanes on Xbox and have their position plotted on Navigraph charts, for instance. So we would like to continue to develop close to the simulator. That's one thing. And then we have a feature set on Navigraph charts that we want to realize. Yes, annotations are coming. There's a ruler, there's a scratch pad.
I think I've been waiting for that stuff for quite some time now.
I know, and patiently so. But they're going to ripen, and you're going to see that it makes sense to publish them at a certain point, because they're going to be dependent on some other features that we have. So, and there's also another thing that I would like to mention. The FMS Data Manager and the Navigraph Nav Data Center.
Yeah, that's recently been rebranded
into Navigraph Hub.
Yes.
And Navigraph Hub, we see it more as a delivery vehicle now. So you're going to be able to update your navigation data through there, but you're also going to be able to install the in-game panel, of course. And then there's going to be other stuff from Microsoft Flight Simulator that's going to be installed through this installation tool, if you will. That's why we call it the Hub.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. One place to get all your Navigraph products into your simulator. Before we wrap this up, is there anything else that you want to add about Navigraph, what you're showing here, maybe what you're showing at the booth at Expo itself tomorrow?
Yes. Okay, so there's a few things. For instance, we have quite a number of pilots on the team now, and we just released VFR charts. So on our YouTube channel, we now have videos where you can go along and do sightseeing in a city from above. So we just recently did one on Houston, Texas, because we're here, but there's more. So if you want to follow along and fly a VFR flight guided, then we have these YouTube videos that I can recommend. As far as coming to our booth, we had a special giveaway a few years ago, which was a hot sauce.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was spicy. So this year we now have a barbecue rub, because we saw it was fitting here in Texas.
Absolutely, yes.
So if you want some of the Navigraph barbecue rub, you should come to our booth. It will elevate your culinary flights to new levels.
I think we can all use that for the in-flight meals and such to make them a little bit more interesting.
Yes, they are spicy though, so use with care.
Use with care, all right. Magnus, I want to thank you very much for sitting here together with me and answering all these questions about Navigraph.
My pleasure.
And very excited to see what you'll be showing at Expo for the rest.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.